UFC Fight Night, Namajunas versus Cortez is coming up next weekend, or 2 weeks, I guess. Oh man, we just have a week without UFC. And today, guys, I'm going to be breaking down that full card for you. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with many YouTube channels. And something that I didn't mention is, if you don't want to hear me yap, guys, timestamps will be there if you'd like to skip to any particular part of the video. Although I do have one important note before we get into the video for today. I'm recording this video. It's releasing on Saturday. I'm recording it very, very late Thursday night. And so far, we missed 2 fights from the main card. So I would imagine the UFC is going to add more fights, because if that's the case, if the card is as it is right now, we're not going to have any early prelims. And I don't know if they've ever done that. So, well, I mean, since Fight Pass was introduced, but as of right now, the card is incomplete. But at the end of the day, I don't have time to make it on Saturday. Lots of plans. I don't have time to make it Friday. I'm watching PFL. I'm getting ready for the UFC 303. I have streams to do on Saturday, so I need to get this video out. So I apologize if there are more fights that do get announced over here. If you guys are interested, just make it known. I will upload another video covering the rest of the fights, but I don't know if you guys want to see videos like that just separately, or if you want me to have it presented in this full card breakdown type. So apologies for that. I do have to make the video very early, as I typically make this a couple days early, but there's no announcements and I can't just risk sitting around. So guys, with that being said, let's get into the card. Sorry about that. Let's start off by taking a look at Josh Fremd versus Andre Petroski, and I still can't get used to the right. This video is a mess, dude, already. Anyways, we have Josh Fremd, who is a decently well-rounded fighter, he's one of those fighters that can kind of fight anywhere, but he doesn't really excel anywhere. And he's taking on Andre Petroski, who is a pretty strong wrestler with powerful but sloppy hands, I would say. And he does have a BJJ game to wrap that up. It's very, very underrated. We don't see it oftentimes, especially in recent times. Well, I mean, that's not true. We had the Gerald Meerschaert fight, but regardless, it doesn't really matter. But he is a very, very good pressure fighter, but there are just so many times I worry about Andre Petroski, because when he's coming, there are so many times that he just misses and overextends. And something else to note that I have been noticing recently is Andre Petroski has an issue listening to his quarter. So make of that what you will, but I think it's something to take into consideration when you're breaking down a fight. So Josh Fremd, of course, both guys have had mixed success. Josh Fremd is coming off of a 2-fight win streak, but it's important to note that he's coming off of a win against 2 fighters that aren't exactly UFC caliber, and I don't like the fact that this fight was like, he didn't excel against Jamie Pickett. You know what I mean? But then he fought Kopylov in a very, very huge step up in competition compared to what he has been fighting, besides, of course, the Anthony Hernandez, but I mean, as of recently. And he got brutalized the entire time. So he's coming off of a really rough loss just 9 months ago, okay? But Andre Petroski, he's coming off of a very, very strange KO loss to Jacob Malkoun, the hip KO. So, I mean, I don't know. Do you want to take a look at, how often does that happen, though? But even then, he was on his way to losing this fight, in my opinion. I mean, we didn't get to see much of it. But I don't think it's one that, we have to look too deep into, to be honest with you. But then, of course, the Michel Pereira loss also aged very, very well. But before the Michel Pereira loss, I personally was off the Andre Petroski train after the Gerald Meerschaert fight. I didn't like his performance there. Too sloppy. And nothing against Gerald Meerschaert. It's just that everybody was kind of high on Andre Petroski coming into this fight, myself included. He looked great before that. But now you're talking about just 10 months ago, the opinion has changed so much on him. But even then, just before that Nick Maximov and Wellington Turman, Andre Petroski has taken on better competition than Josh Fremd. And in my opinion, he's looked better doing so. So it's really tough, because I would say Josh Fremd has a better striking, but Andre Petroski, when he is pursuing, I think that he could get the edge over here. This is a winnable fight for Andre Petroski. I could see Josh Fremd using some nice crisp straight shots to take care of Andre Petroski, because he does have that option there. But I like the experience, and I like the times I have seen Andre Petroski look okay against better competition. I am not convinced Josh Fremd. I think Andre Petroski, for a fighter, is just a little bit better than Josh Fremd. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. So I'm going to ever so slightly lean to Andre Petroski to pick for this fight, but it's a very, very low confident pick. As for who I'd like to win, though, guys, I actually would like to see Andre Petroski get back on the train, because, of course, it's going to be tough if he takes another loss over here. But let's take a look over at Odds Jam and the betting side of things over here, because we have Andre Petroski sitting at a very slight favorite, and that's honestly how I feel about it, to be honest with you. there's really nothing else to break down in the betting odds. And of course, because I'm recording this early, we don't have any props or anything, and that's going to be the story for this video. We also don't have any bets for the main event because it just changed. Guys, let's move on to the next fight, though, in a fight that I am incredibly excited for, because we have Christian Rodriguez taking on Julian Erosa. Christian Rodriguez, man, I absolutely love watching this guy fight. He is a speedy and accurate striker with very nice movement, but it has been shown that he can be worked on the ground. In saying that, though, I do like Christian Rodriguez because he's one of those fighters, and it's a little bit sad that you don't see this that often now in the UFC, because he never accepts position. He never, ever accepts position when he is being outworked on the ground. He's constantly trying to fight out of bad spots, but that is a path to victory against him. Another thing that is a little bit frustrating about Christian Rodriguez, because again, guys, I think he's such a good fighter, to be honest with you, because sometimes he can show fight bad IQ. For example, in his last fight, he could have finished Isaac Dalgarian. He could have finished him when he was completely 100,000% gassed. Instead, he wanted to prove a point and submit Isaac Dalgarian. He could have won that fight, and I will say, and I'm not going to sit back and talk about that, I think this split decision win over Isaac Dalgarian was a complete 100% robbery. 100%. So I'm personally looking at this like he's coming off of a really nice 3-fight win streak, coming off of the destruction of the hype train Raul Rosas Jr. and the very nice win against Cameron Simon. I am very high on Cameron Simon. I know that he just got destroyed, but I still do believe that Cameron Simon is a fantastic fighter in himself. So he's coming off of one loss, in my opinion. He's taking on Julian Erosa, who is another, like we were just talking about Josh Fremd. He's kind of like the same kind of style over here, because he's one of those fighters that can fight anywhere, but he doesn't really excel anywhere. Sometimes, though, like Christian Rodriguez, he can lack fight IQ. Sometimes he comes in, wants to be super aggressive, and he wants to finish you. But sometimes that can work against him, too. He's 29-11, aging at 34 years old. I do think that Julian Erosa is past his prime at this point, although he's definitely not useless. Like, not one little bit. I don't mean to say like that he's washed or anything. I just think that we've seen Julian Erosa's best days, because, of course, in his last 5, he got okay wins against Hakeem Dawodu and Steven Peterson. I know people are really, they like to talk about sleeping on Hakeem Dawodu, but I personally don't. I think he's just an average fighter. But then he came off of 2 really rough losses against Fernando Padilla and Alex Caceres. Granted, that is a step up in competition. Alex Caceres, depends the way you want to look at that as a step up in competition, but at the end of the day, he got knocked out by Alex Caceres. Don't know how much I really love about that one, but Fernando Padilla is a fantastic fighter, but then he got a nice win just 3 months ago against Ricardo Ramos. So he's back in the game. Unfortunately, though, I do see this bout standing up. I can't see, like, the options there for Julian Erosa for when these two fight. He could go and take him down. But is Julian Erosa going to do that? And can Julian Erosa out-grapple Christian Rodriguez? Christian Rodriguez, that's the way to beat him. Because if it stays on the feet, which I think it is, Rodriguez is going to be faster, more accurate. He's going to be moving around all over the place. The potential's there for Julian Erosa to catch him, but I just really like what I've seen from C-Rod since he broke into the UFC. I'm very high on this guy. I hope he improves. I hope the fight IQ problem goes away, but I mean, I don't know, like, I hate talking about, I just hate that we have all these fighters here that are doing something so respectable, and then I go, hey, this guy has bad fight IQ. You know, I feel bad doing that, but at the end of the day, like, come on, man. He should have won his last fight. He should have destroyed Isaac Dalgarian in that last round, man. Unbelievable. I'm getting a little bit off topic. Anyways, my pick will be Christian Rodriguez. I don't think Julian Erosa is going to really offer any resistance for the destruction train that Christian Rodriguez has kind of been on. Not really been on too much of a destruction train, but for who I hope wins, guys, honestly, I like both guys a lot, but I'm kind of on the Christian Rodriguez train. I would like to see him get the win over here. I'd like to see him continue the win streak. Anyways, taking a look over at OddsJam over here, we can see Christian Rodriguez is sitting at a little bit of a comfortable favorite. That seems right to me too. Looks like the bookies got it right so far. Maybe there's going to be spots throughout the card. I don't really know, but Christian Rodriguez is someone that I'm considering betting on myself. I just really like him for this card. Now, guys, let's move on to a fight that I'm not necessarily too excited for myself. And that's saying something, because if I'm not excited for a fight, then I believe, like, honestly, I think that's something to take into consideration for the UFC, because I am one of the biggest fight fans out there. We have Cody Brundage taking on Abdul Razak Alhassan. I'm actually looking forward to the female fights a little bit more this time around. But we do have some decent talent in the coming fights. Anyways, Cody Brundage, who is a lackluster fighter who is okay at wrestling. He has cardio issues. He has durability issues, striking issues, heart issues. You name it. He's taking on Abdul Razak Alhassan, who is a powerful but low volume striker. The only way he can really get a win is by catching you and finishing you. He does have judo credentials, but you never see it in his fights. At this point in his age, he's 38 years old. He's aging. He's been getting less active pretty much every time we see him almost, but it's just like I don't know, man. One of those little bit of a lower level fight. It is important to note though that Cody Brundage, coming off of the Bo Nickel loss, he definitely showed in this fight that he didn't want to be a stepping stone, and he showed way more heart in this fight than we've seen as of recently, but at the end of the day, he still sucked. He still sucked. I can't believe that he beat Zach Reese. I can't believe he got the win over Jacob Malkoon, but even then, you have a little bit of an Aljamain Sterling issue over there too, you know what I mean? I just can't, like, the Zach Reese slam, man, that's crazy. That was such a parlay buster. Dude, I've always said that I will never bet on a Cody Brundage fight ever again. Ever. Too much goes wrong with this guy. But you know what? Like, I feel like with anybody else in the division, I would pick against Cody Brundage. But, like, what if Abdul comes in and just stands there? I don't know, man. I'm not looking forward to this fight. It's probably going to be a little bit boring. Abdul can catch Cody, but he's 38 years old. He's slow. What if he just comes in, shows up, and doesn't really be that active? I don't know, man. Like, his record proves it. Win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. And if he catches you, he catches you. But other than that, he's kind of useless. I think this should be a pick'em fight, but I will be picking Cody Brundage. The youth is there. The weirdness is there. What if there's a disqualification? What if he can pull out another slam? It's more likely something like that happens, to be honest with you, than Alhassan kind of catching you. Maybe not. I don't know. It should be a pick'em fight, guys. I don't really know. I'm interested to see the odds, though. But for who I would like to see him win the fight, I would actually like to see Brundage win the fight. I don't know why so many people really... I kind of get it. But I think the hate for him is so over-exaggerated. He's just like... And I hate saying this again, man, but I don't think he's UFC caliber. That's all. And the odds kind of reflect the same thing. Cody Brundage, still sitting at an underdog. I will never, ever put my money on a Cody Brundage fight ever again. So play that if you want to risk everything. Now, guys, let's keep going. Let's move on over to the next fight. We have Viviane Araujo versus Jasmine Jasudavicius. Now, I'm very, very excited for this fight because I like watching Jasmine Jasudavicius fight a lot, dude. She is a fantastic fighter for the division. You have Viviane Araujo, who is a good offensive striker, but unfortunately lacks defense. That might be why this fight's a little bit exciting, because we kind of have the same thing going over here. So she's a little bit weird. So it's tough to call her fights because sometimes she can show up and show great boxing technique, but sometimes she can also fade. She's had cardio issues in the past. She's 12-6. She's arguably a little bit better than her 12-6 record, but I think it kind of speaks for itself because she has taken on really good competition. Once she fights somebody like Jennifer Maia or Andrea Lee, and I will say I don't think Jennifer Maia is a good fighter. I just think that she's a little bit stronger. That's all. But when she takes on Alexa Grasso, Amanda Hebos, and Natalia Silva, a clear step up in competition, she doesn't get the job done. And this is what I'm going to be talking about. I think Jasmine Jasudavicius is that step up in competition. I think she's very underrated. Jasmine Jasudavicius is a decently well-rounded fighter who completely excels when putting on the striking pressure, and that showed. That showed in the last fight. She also does a really good job keeping the fight on the feet, because if a fighter wants to come and take her down, she shows incredible defense, great reversals, but while her pressure and volume are great, she's very sloppy. That's the issue. That's her only issue. Accurate strikers who can keep up with her pace will piece her up. At the end of the day, I don't think that Viviane Araujo is that accurate striker, but sometimes she shows up and she shows some pretty clean boxing. So I do think that Araujo definitely can have moments, but man, I want to talk about Jasmine for a second, guys. She's 35 years old. She doesn't look like she's 35. I mean, like in fighting years. I mean, I'm not talking about like her physical appearance. When she got these two wins against Miranda Maverick and Gabriela Fernandez, I thought this girl was the future of the division. I was like, oh my God, this girl's improving. This girl's dominating. She is looking fantastic. And it's just, you know, when you see that technique in this division, that you don't see that all that often. I was worried, and I've made this, I was very vocal about it on this channel, that her striking defense needs work. Tracy Cortez exposed that, and it still needs work. But then she came back against Priscilla Cachoeira, and domination isn't even a way to begin it. I actually gave, I don't remember if it was 1 or 2 rounds, but I actually, if I was scoring the fight, I would have given out a 10-7. The final strikes were over 300 to 20. About 20. Crazy. Crazy. So is she getting better, or was it a good matchup for her? Tough to tell. But regardless, I still think, here's let's make this breakdown real easy, okay? I think Viviane Araujo is a subpar fighter. I think Jasmine Jasudavicius is a really good fighter. I think Jasmine Jasudavicius is going to win the fight. The striking exchanges can get sloppy, and I can see points where Araujo does kind of crank Jasmine, but I think the pressure, I think the forward movement will end up getting to Viviane Araujo, and I think that Jasmine Jasudavicius is going to get the win over here. Plus, you have to take into consideration that Araujo is 37 years old. Every time she's faced a step up in competition, she's taking a loss. She's 12-6. I like what I've seen from Jasmine, man. I think she's a fantastic fighter. I think she's amazing to watch, and if you can't tell, and it's important to note if you're new to this channel, I swear to you, I don't bet with my feelings. I don't pick fights with my feelings because I am very high on Jasmine Jasudavicius as a fighter, and I have become a fan of her. She is incredible to watch. She's always making fun fights. Can't wait to watch the performance, man. Let's take a look at the odds over here. Wow. That's shocking. That's shocking because I'm seriously considering throwing a play on Jasmine Jasudavicius. Wow. Maybe people are seeing something that I'm not, but I just think that she's really, really, really good. But now, guys, let's move on to another fight in a fight that is very, very difficult to predict. We have Luana Santos taking on Mariya Agapova. Agapova's coming off of a really long layoff. Yeah, 2 months. Okay, or 2 months, excuse me, 2 years. That's going to be tough because how's she going to come back, man? I actually don't know why she's been off that long. If anybody could shed some light on that in the comments, I would appreciate that. To be honest with you, I don't care to follow her career that closely, but we haven't seen her. She is an aggressive striker. She is pretty high volume, and when she comes in to fight, she actually tries to get you out of there. But like we were kind of talking about the last fight, actually, sometimes she throws wild, sometimes she's technical. There's actually a few fighters that we can kind of put in similar buckets over here. But anyways, she's taking on Luana Santos, who is a judo-based fighter who does a really good job when she's on the ground. She has good control, slick submissions, but unfortunately, that is all she has because on the feet, this girl is sloppy and far from technical. Far from technical. I've watched Luana Santos' journey since she got into the LFA, and she looked fantastic in the LFA. But the problem is, when she came into the UFC, all the talent went away. I'm like, okay, I don't know how she got the KO over Julian Miller, I know, but that was the most sloppiest and untechnical fight I have ever seen, and she got the win. She got the win, okay? And she got another one against Stephanie Egger, but she still sucked in that performance, man. It's weird because it's weird sometimes, and that's the problem with these regional promotions, man, because I love watching LFA, but in these LFA fights, I was like, oh, Luana Santos actually has some serious potential, but of course, it's the level of competition. Sometimes they end up getting handed to you a little bit. So anyways, Luana Santos, I was high on. I'm no longer high on. But the problem is when she's taking on Mariya Agapova, who I would pick her. I would pick her pretty easily, to be honest with you. I think she's just a little bit more aggressive. I think the only problem really would be if Luana Santos got her to the ground, but I don't even know if that'd be the case. I could see Agapova coming in and really overwhelming Luana Santos with the aggression and getting her out of there, but 2 years off. That's always a big issue. But at the end of the day, she's 27 years old. And I wish I knew, man, and I'm sorry if this is a lack of professionalism on my end, guys, but I'm mostly a fight fan. So I'm giving myself a little bit of a pass there. Tough fight to call. I'm going to pick Agapova to get the win. I don't think Luana Santos is good. That's pretty much it. Man, I'm not loving my breakdown this time around, to be honest with you guys, because there's some fights here that's a relatively low level in my opinion, and I feel like I'm saying a couple of the same things about a couple fighters, but it's just coincidence, man. It's just coincidence. But hey, we can't have amazing fights to break down all the time. I don't care about this fight that much. Luana Santos, I'm interested to see their career trajectory, but even then, am I just saying that because maybe she's nicer on the eyes than most women in the division? What am I talking about? I apologize, honestly, if this type of video isn't up to par with my usual content. I know, it's just a little bit of a weird card. I don't know, I don't even care who wins, to be honest with you. I don't even care. Let's take a look at the odds. Mariya Agapova is sitting at the underdog. I can see that. Because she has been off for so long. We don't know how she's going to come back. I still don't know why she's been off. Maybe that has a play into it, but Luana Santos, guys, I wouldn't touch her with my money, man. I don't think she's that good. Guys, let me put a little bit of a pause on the video, though. And again, if you don't want to hear me talk about this, you can skip. Timestamps will be there if you are interested. But I talk a lot about betting on this channel. If you are interested in either supporting the channel or seeing actually where I put my money where my mouth is, or if you'd like to take my MMA knowledge, combine it with your own research, make your own bets, any of those reasons, you can check out the channel membership. It'll be in the pinned comment description down below or right next to the subscribe button. Every Thursday or Friday, I will be posting my official bets for UFC, PFL, One Championship, whatever it may be. I'll be posting them, explaining my confidence levels, and again, for members only. Very cheap compared to other channels. If you want to just show your support, that's amazing as well. I would appreciate that. And also, guys, we talk about this tool that I use all the time on these videos, OddsJam. If you would like to sign up to OddsJam, because they do have some really, really great tools over there, especially if you have multiple sports books. It's a great site. If you are interested in signing up to OddsJam, you can use my link in the pinned comment description down below and use code Clenbat. You can get a discount if you'd like to sign up to OddsJam. They are very, very fast. They're great over there. I love OddsJam. I use it all the time. And if you guys are interested in either of those, thank you very much for listening. I appreciate you being here. Let's get into the short main card. Guys, let's keep going up the card to Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Muslim Salikhov. This is another tough fight to pick, man. What's going on with this card? I guess this is what we get for coming off of UFC 303, eh? Anyways, we have Santiago Ponzinibbio, who is a great striker, who really, really shines. He is excellent with his range. Very nice power, but the problem isn't the same problem with Muslim Salikhov. He's aging, and it shows. He's taking on, like I just said, the king of Kung Fu, Muslim Salikhov, who is a good striker, a good wrestler. He comes in, he tries to knock you out every single time he fights. He's very aggressive, does a good job in doing so. But, like I said with Santiago Ponzinibbio, he's aging. Ah! Man, these fights are so tough to pick this time around. Man, I don't even know, like, what I'm going to be betting on. Maybe Jasmine Jasudavicius is really the only one that I like. But even then, that's the WMMA division. So much can go wrong. I don't know how it went, but I ended up betting on Julian Robertson last week. The fight hasn't happened yet at the time of recording this video, but you never know with these divisions. Something can completely go wrong. Anyways, this is so tough, man, because both of them are kind of in the same spot in their career. And both of them are, I don't know. Muslim Salikhov can open up the wrestling game, but I don't know if he will. He's going to come out and he's probably going to want to take Santiago Ponzinibbio's head off. So let's go through their recent few fights, okay? Because Santiago Ponzinibbio, he has been a very, very inactive fighter. He's had his split decision losses to Jeff Neal and Michel Pereira, which both of them have aged pretty well, but then he came back, got a late KO over Alex Morono. He was losing this fight, and then Kevin Holland just absolutely obliterated him. So I don't know how I'm feeling about Santiago Ponzinibbio at this time, because he's taking on Muslim Salikhov, who's kind of having a little bit of the same issue. After layoff, he got the loss to Li Jingliang, won against Andre Fialho, but that has aged very, very poorly. Then he lost to Nicholas Dalby, and he lost to Randy Brown, which are a step up in competition. 50-50. This is a pick'em fight too, man. This is a pick'em fight. I'm going to pick Muslim Salikhov because I like the pressure. I like how he's looked a little bit better in his performances recently against, as opposed to Santiago Ponzinibbio, who I just don't see him as the same guy at all from, what is it, like 10 years ago? I don't even know. He's been watching this dude for a long time. Then he had a long time off. So this is, man, what a card. This might go really, really bad for me. I am being careful with my money for this card. I'm going to be picking Muslim Salikhov. Very low confidence level pick. Let's take a look. I'm picking another underdog. What? Oh my God, Muslim Salikhov. I don't even know. I think this should be a pick 'em fight, man. Maybe there's some value on Muslim Salikhov. Who I'd like to see win the fight, though, guys. I honestly would like to see Ponzinibbio get a win. It's like it's nostalgic to see him get a win. You know, if he gets a win, you know what I mean. Just been watching him on the come up when I was really, really getting hardcore into the sport. Great fighter. I like Muslim Salikhov as well, but tough fight to pick, dude. All right, guys, let's move on to another very, very tough fight to pick. Gabriel Bonfim and Erosa. This is a great fight, though. This is a really, really great fight because I'm very interested on how Gabriel Bonfim is going to come back after the... I don't believe it to be a fraud check. The MMA community says it was a fraud check against Nicholas Dalby. That loss has aged very, very well, but it's important to note, man, Gabriel Bonfim isn't untouchable. I never thought he was untouchable, but that loss was coming. It was coming. He is a great fighter, though. Great, great fighter. You have Gabriel Bonfim, who's a well-rounded fighter who excels in boxing and BJJ. We've just seen that you can take advantage of Gabriel Bonfim, and Nicholas Dalby show that. It's really the only resistance we've kind of seen him come against yet. Now, but he's taking on Erosa, who, another fighter who I'm very high on, to be honest with you. He is a very, very accurate striker with good cardio, a really good jab. He has nice leg kicks, and he has a wrestling game behind it. And I'm interested to see, because is that wrestling game going to be able to defend, against Gabriel Bonfim? Erosa, though, he is very explosive at times, and I do love the way that this guy mixes up his shots and his takedowns. He does a good job of being unpredictable. Angelusa coming off of that really rough, the Aljamain Sterling type of loss against Brian Battle. He was on his way to losing this fight, but even then, if he lost Brian Battle, it's a good loss to have. It's another really interesting fight because you have Gabriel Bonfim, who was steamrolling everybody. You got to question how he's going to look when he comes back. Is the confidence going to be there, or is he going to improve? It's his first loss and his first time losing pretty bad, to be honest with you. Some guys look different. Some guys look different for the best. I think we kind of know where Angelusa sits. I'm unsure about Gabriel Bonfim at this point in his career. I don't know. Like, Bonfim definitely has the BJJ advantage. Lusa will probably have the wrestling advantage, but Gabriel Bonfim does have nice takedowns too. Striking is definitely Angelusa, in my opinion. I think he's a very, very underrated striker. He's going to have a slight reach advantage. Tough fight again. Tough fight. I am leaning ever so slightly, guys. Like 55-45 over on the side of Angelusa. I still think he has more to show us. He'll probably want to come back and prove a point after everybody's kind of looking at him like a little bit of a Sterling after his last performance. And I didn't like what I saw over there, to be honest with you. He could have continued. Battle's right, but I need to see how Gabriel Bonfim comes from a loss. I'm going to ever so slightly pick Angelusa to win the fight. And for what I would like to see win, guys, I like both guys, man. I'm going to cheer for Bonfim a little bit. I'd like to see him get the comeback because got a little bit of sour taste in my mouth after the way Angelusa took that loss. Wow. Dude, this card might go really bad for me because everybody's disagreeing with me. Oh my God. Angelusa sitting at a huge underdog there. I'm definitely not touching my money. No chance. Absolutely no chance. Could see an upset there. Really. Let's move on, guys, to the new main event of the evening. We have Thug Rose Namajunas taking on new replacement Tracy Cortez. She's taking this fight. How long's it been? I don't even know. Very, very short notice for Tracy Cortez. Very short notice, okay? You have Rose Namajunas. We all know her at this point. There's nothing to break down about her. She is a very complete fighter. That's really all there is to it. She can do everything, and she excels at pretty well everything. You have Tracy Cortez, though. I have been so wrong about how I feel about Tracy Cortez because, like, I just glazed Jasmine Jasudavicius over in this card. She kind of sold me over here. Kind of. We'll talk a little bit more about it. But Jasmine Jasudavicius. Tracy Cortez is a great wrestler with vastly improved striking. She didn't always look that good. She definitely didn't always look that good. She's accurate, and she actually can be quite powerful for the division. For the division, it's important to know. It's not like she is some Francis Ngannou or anything, but in saying that, she is improving her striking, but she does need to work on her striking defense. She does get hit a little bit more than you would like her to, but at the end of the day, she is still a very, very improving fighter. She's 11-1. She has been looking really, really good in the UFC. Taking on, like, the competition isn't so great, in my opinion. Nothing crazy, but then she looked great against Jasmine Jasudavicius. And this is where I was like, okay, maybe I was completely wrong about the way I feel about Tracy Cortez. Her striking was so crisp here. So crisp. And like I said, it was against somebody who I was very impressed with. The strikes were accurate and powerful. And this could have been a one-off performance. It's possible. It's possible. But if she has another performance like this, I'll be completely convinced of Tracy Cortez. But I don't even know if I want to say in this part because she's taking this fight on such short notice. Was she training? Was she in shape? She had a fight booked, but did she start training camp? We don't really know. Rose Namajunas isn't looking too good. I can't believe she's 12-6, man. You wouldn't think that Rose Namajunas is 12-6. You feel like she's been around and just winning forever, right? But she had two pretty rough losses. I mean, if you really want to look at this one as a loss against Carla Esparza. And then she had a issue with Manafro where she was a clear step behind the whole time. And it kind of showed all of us that she is not built for 125. I don't know what's going on. I know she's put on a few pounds, but she can definitely like lose that. But it's weird because only in one fight at 125, the shots visibly hurt her and she was wearing damage. And I mean, she didn't get destroyed in this fight, but you could tell that she's not a 125er, dude. But then she ended up getting a win over Amanda Hebos, which in my opinion was a garbage fight. I've never seen more missing in my life. The fight could have gone either way, to be honest with you. Both showed some technique, but it was like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just don't think that Rose has it anymore. I think in these last two fights, she doesn't care about cutting weight. She's showing up for a check. She doesn't seem to want to be there. And that's something that's really important to note. And I talked about in other fights where she's always talking about like retirement. Sometimes she loves MMA. Sometimes she hates MMA. You never know what's going on with this girl. Seems like there's a little bit of a screw loose there. But she did have a training camp. And, okay, the problem is this is at 125. If this is at 115, I just think Rose Namajunas is the better fighter, period. But she's had issues at 125. She can't take the shots. And Tracy Cortez is an improving striker. But she's taking this fight on short notice. This is one of the toughest cards to pick. And, like, I know we just had a really tough card recently, but this is such a hard fight to pick. This should be a pick'em too, man. This should be a pick'em. I gotta go with the girl who had a training camp. Because Tracy Cortez isn't that good. She's not that good. She's good, but she's not that good. She looks like she's in shape. We've all seen those videos. She looks like she's in fantastic shape. But is she in fight shape? She's in her prime. Rose doesn't have any more. Man, but Rose might as well have taken this fight on short notice because she's a basket case. I don't know. This card might look so bad on me, dude. I'm going to go with Rose Namajunas. Last chance for her to win a fight. And I know she beat Amanda Ibas. That fight could have gone either way. But last chance for her to have a good performance, or I'm not picking her at 125 again, dude. Not picking her at all. It is important to note, though, odds jam at this point, my apologies, guys, doesn't have any odds up for this fight. So I don't know who's the underdog, but I don't even care who wins this fight, dude. I really don't. There's a lot of fights. It's an okay card. There's some fights that I'm really looking forward to on this card, and some fights that just I don't care about. Like the main event, I'm looking forward to, but I just don't have a strong investment in either fighter. I don't really have a connection from a fan perspective with these fighters, but there's a lot of fighters I do like over here. I really hope Jasmine Jasudavicius gets the win. There's a couple fighters on the card where I'm like, oh man, I don't want to see either fighter lose. Like, I would like to see Ponzi win, and that's pretty much it, man. Like, Andre Petroski, Christian Rodriguez, I'm probably cheering for mostly on the card. One of the most lackluster cards we've had in a little while, guys. One of the most lackluster cards we've had in a little while. Tough fights to pick. This is going to look really, really bad on me. Be careful with your bets, guys. Thank you very, very much for watching the video. If you were interested, check out this video on screen right now. YouTube thinks you'll like this video best on the channel. I will see you over there or in the next video, guys. Take care.